Hi, I'm Southampton Town Supervisor Jay Schneiderman, and welcome to Talk of the Town, where we take an in-depth look at town services and some of the individuals who deliver those services and things that are going on in our community that we think are of interest to our residents. Today we're going to talk about information technology, IT, and some of the products that we have been working on in the town of Southampton for people, for the residents to get access to information as well as to help the town run its governmental services. And I'm joined by two individuals, Paula Pobat, who is our Director of Information Technology or
Correct.
Information Management. Is that what it is? Information Management?
Yes, management.
And Ross Baldwin, who is the head of our GIS system, our GIS manager. So welcome to Talk of the Town.
Thank you.
And there's some really exciting stuff going on with IT, information technology. So Paula, why don't we start with you? This is a fairly large department in the town of Southampton, fairly sophisticated. You are in charge of that department. So tell us a little bit about information technology, what you do, how you got into all this.
Right. Well, the information technology at the town started somewhere back in the mid-'80s with one employee, and it has since grown through all the decades.
How many employees do you have now?
We have got 13 in total.
Wow.
That's GIS and IT together. We've got 13 in total. As the technology has grown, we've grown as well. The IT department supports all of the infrastructure. That's all the backbone, the network. We have remote sites, about 25 remote sites. Computers that are on people's desktops. We support mobile devices, software, hardware, printers, anything technology with the town we support.
And how is the town using information technology to run its programs or to deliver its services?
Basically, every department in the town has a piece of software that helps them operate every day. We've got a couple of large applications. Govern is our largest land management application. That takes care of our tax office, land management, building, planning, zoning board of appeals, assessor's office. That's how we value properties. We've used it for the water district. We've got a parks application that takes care of parks and recreation. We've got
so everything is basically automated.
Yes,
so a lot of people are entering data into a system.
Yes.
Documents are being delivered, they're being scanned into the system.
We scan tons of documents, which make them available to every department. So when someone comes in with paperwork, for example, for the building department, the information gets scanned in on the spot. Many years ago, we got a grant to go backwards in time, so the town is fortunate enough to have documents almost back to the beginning of code, which is 1957, I think.
Right.
So we've got tons of documents. It streamlines so many operations of data sharing throughout all the town's departments.
Right. All right. So Paula, you have some very talented individuals in your department, and you have been developing applications for whether it's an iPhone or Android, whatever platform they're working on, or a desktop computer or notepad. Can you talk a little bit about some of the ways you're trying to make data more accessible and technology more helpful in terms of both our residents and our department heads and employees?
Sure. We are very fortunate to have very talented people on staff, particularly Ross and some of the group in GIS. So they have the ability to write applications that run on mobile devices. And we've been able to develop some applications that not only get information out to the constituents, but also makes us able to be more efficient internally as well.
Sure.
We're doing things like real-time inspections in the field, for example. The building inspectors can go out in the field, do their inspections right on their iPad, and the information gets back to Town Hall immediately into our systems so that we can then provide the constituent with information.
So in the old days, so to speak, they'd go out there with a clipboard, right?
Yes, exactly.
And they would handwrite it, and then somebody would have to bring it back, and they would have to enter it again.
They would have to enter it
right,
again.
So now it's right while they're in the field, and it links up.
Correct. It gets linked to the record right there. It's all available for every department to see once it's the minute that it's entered.
Now you mentioned GIS, and Ross, I know you're head of the GIS department. What is GIS? What does it stand for?
Geographic Information Systems.
Okay, and why is that important?
It's a technological tool for comprehending geography and making intelligent decisions. So Our role with the town is to take all this data, leverage all the governed data, the enterprise land management solution, and bring all that data into a common platform that's usable and efficient for other departments or various departments to use.
Give me a real world examples, because it's basically, these are maps, right? And it's layers on maps. So you start with basically the real property map where all the property boundaries are kind of laid over the landmass. And then you start to put things on that map, right?
Yes.
Owners of properties, building permits, all those different things, topography, and each is a layer. And there's, I don't know how many layers. Hundreds of layers.
Thousands.
And so you could look at whatever you want to look at. So one department may want to look at certain things, the assessor may want to look at something. How does that become useful to our department heads or the public at large?
Well, there's, as I mentioned, there's hundreds of different layers available to the various departments, and some are more important than others. And what they can do is leverage those layers to make decisions and find out potential for development, for instance, aid in finding out how many parcels or development rights could be brought onto a parcel to develop it into a certain size subdivision.
So I could look at a map basically, and I could say, okay, let's say I wanted to know who owns a piece of property. I could literally just click on that property and it will tell me that. I could find out what the property is assessed at. I could find out what permits that person has applied for, any variances, site plans, those type of things. I can actually pull up pictures from on the property in some cases, look at the certificate of occupancy. There's so much information about a particular property, but we also have things in different zoning districts and overlay districts, whether it's an aquifer protection district or some other category in terms of zoning. And it's all there in these layers for me to look at. So now you're trying, we're introducing something, well, we've introduced something called ePortal, which is in the lobby here, but also it's kind of a subset of a larger program that's available to the community, where they can log into our GIS system. And I'm not sure they can see all the layers, but they can see a lot of these layers. And that's a subscription service. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and how that works?
Absolutely. The ePortal's been around for around 18 years, actually, and it's evolved over time, and it has a couple different components. There's a mapping component for those that like to see things spatially, and there's a reporting component. And as part of that, there's mass appraisal information, there's tax information, sales. You can, I believe there's about 25 or 30 different layers we build upon and allow them to work with to do their own querying and analysis. And it's been very successful, and we work very well, and we take a lot of input from our subscribers and make changes as they need. But it's a great tool to gather information, documents, as you said, and
Property inventories.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people in the real estate industry probably pay for those subscriptions so they can find out more about properties. Anybody interested in real property at all, I think would be interested in what we had to offer through our GIS system.
Absolutely.
How do you, is that something you just download, or you have to, can you download it online and pay for it that way, or do you have to come into town hall to subscribe?
No, it's a website. So you just have to go to the URL, eportal.southamptontowny.gov.
Say that slower.
eportal.southamptontowny.gov.
No hyphen, just the letter E. We'll run it on the screen.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Okay, and they go there, and then they could just click on
There's
a
options.
box,
There's options if you're a new subscriber. There's a link to go and pay.
and you put a
via
credit card in. Is that how it works?
Correct. Yep. And you can pay and start a subscription right on the fly, or if you're already a subscriber, it's just a simple login page that brings you to the
Now
portal.
you have different packages, right? It used to be just a year. Now you can go by the month or by the day even.
We can go right down to the day,
Okay.
month, biannual, bi-monthly, and annual.
Okay, and obviously, it's proportionally more. If you just get one day, it's a little more
Correct.
expensive than if you get a year.
Yes.
But if you're only going to go on once in a while, then maybe a daily subscription is the way to go for you.
It's less than $1 a day if you go
Right.
with the annual
Now,
subscription.
we do have that available free in certain locations. The libraries, I think.
Correct, public libraries and in the newly formed eDocs Center here in Town Hall.
Right, now in the eDocs Center, we've kind of simplified it even more. We've made it a little bit more user-friendly.
Right, we, for those who don't want to stand in line at the building department per se or some other departments, they can go into the eDocs Center and there's a tool there where you can search a property and download any document associated with that property. And actually you don't download it, you actually can click on a link and it will email it directly to your personal email.
Right, so if you wanted to see, let's say something was going on your neighbor's property and you wanted to take a look at the permit that they applied for, you could potentially see that.
Yes.
The details of the permit, maybe pull up a survey for that property. You might be able to answer a lot of questions yourself.
Correct.
Rather than necessarily talking to one of the building inspectors, which you can do as well. So I think that's a really handy system. Are we seeing much use of the what do you call it, the eDocs Center?
I see people in there occasionally. I'm not down on this floor that often. We're up on the 3rd floor, but
People have been using it?
people have been using it, yes.
Oh, good. And do we have a lot of people subscribing to the GIS system, the e-portal, right?
Yes, absolutely. There's over 400.
400. Okay, that's great. So the town of Southampton is in the process of launching a new application called SOS, Southampton Online Services, and both of you have been working very hard on this. And the idea behind SOS is to give the public an easy way to let us know about issues that they're seeing out there in the community, whether it's a violation of a town code, maybe it's a housing violation, maybe it's just litter on the side of the road, maybe it's a street light that's gone out, a pothole, whatever it might be. It will allow that person to register that issue with the town, and it automatically will generate an email to that department that's responsible for it, as well as letting some other individuals know, let's say the town board liaison to that department. And it's also putting that issue on a map, so we can see how long it's gone unresolved. So as a supervisor who's involved with managing the town, I can then look at a map and say, oh, why hasn't this issue been addressed? I can reach out to that department head and say, okay, this person registered, let's say, some illegal dumping in a particular place, and why hasn't it been cleaned up? So it'll let me know, though, if there is some action that's been taken, as well as the person who registered that complaint. So could you kind of take us through this SOS system, Ross, Southampton Online Solutions, and what's behind it, and when are we rolling it out so the public can actually take advantage of it?
Well, we hope to roll out shortly. It's not quite a little farther than infancy stage right now because we've built the mechanics and the foundation for this. Now the next step is get the departments buy-in and show them, or I guess mold it to what works best for them to make their departments more efficient. So when that's done, we hope to roll out shortly. But it's a great tool it's available on all kinds of devices, your phone, your iPad, your tablet, your PC, and you can go in there and
You can actually take a picture, right? Like, so if, let's say you see a situation, maybe it's a safety hazard of some kind, and you're driving around, so you can actually take a picture and upload it through this application of that spot, and it will actually appear on the map, right? With some
Yes.
kind of marker or something.
Yep. So going down the steps, there's categories, as you mentioned, street lights. You enter your category. You submit a picture. It could be a picture you've already taken, or you could take a picture on the fly. You're going to want, you can be anonymous, or you can submit your information. If you do submit your information, we'll keep you up to date on the status of the ticket. So whenever the status changes from received to entered or reviewed and completed, you can see that. It will map your current location, or you can add a location on your own, depending on where you're at.
Now, can you? Some people they don't want to complain. They have an issue, but they don't want necessarily the neighbor to know that they're the ones who complained. Will they be able to complain, or maybe complain's not the right word, file that concern without you know, and be anonymous, maintain their,
Absolutely, and we
Anonymity.
have an option as well. So if you submit it anonymously, you can still go down at the end of the ticket process. You'll be given an incident number, and you can go back and search that incident number and see the status of it at that point.
okay, so they can track it by that.
Yes.
And if it's something that's, let's say, going through the court system, they'll be able to see when court dates have been scheduled and things like that. Will that be available?
Potentially, I mean, we've developed this in-house, so the sky's the limit. We're
Great.
very flexible.
All right, and this is something as the public begins to use, they can let us know if it's working well, how we might want to change it to improve it, so we can refine it as we go. Ross, you are involved in technology on the governmental level, not just in the town of Southampton, but you have been involved statewide on some of these issues, right?
I'm recently elected to the Geographic Advisory Council, where we sit down with a group with the New York State GIO, Geographic Information Officer, who has direct contact with the governor, so we can bring our concerns from our different regions to these quarterly meetings and discuss. So, and I'm also the chairman of the Long Island GIS region, and we have a user conference coming up actually shortly. But it's another way for all the GIS people to get together and share ideas, share concerns, and vet those.
Paula, what are some of the directions you see your department heading into the future in terms of improving information sharing and using technology to help our
Right.
residents?
As Ross said, because we can do so much in-house, I really see us going much in the direction that we're headed now, where we develop new applications to serve the public, to make internal operations more efficient. Anything that we can use to apply technology to bring us efficiencies, whether that be for the public or internally. And like Ross said, the sky's the limit. We've got great talent. So as we start banging around ideas, we'll bring them to you and we'll discuss them with you and we'll keep moving in that direction.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the other technologies we've been using to help the town assessor's office in terms of looking at properties? I know we've been doing these flyovers, and there's another program outside the GIS that
Right.
shows properties in different angles that we can see improvements on properties.
Right, and that's a pictometry product. I'll let Ross speak to that. That's a little bit more GIS based.
So pictometry is oblique imagery taken at a 40-degree angle around properties. There's also an ortho photo, which is taken straight up above the property. They fly a grid for the whole entire town. And it is a great tool, and it's software that we pay maintenance on for the assessors to use, which we've built into our internal applications as well. But New York State's approved the assessor's office in New York State to use it for assessment to assess properties. We have many properties that are difficult to get to, and this is a time saver. They don't have to spend the money on potentially gas and manpower. They can inspect
Right.
however many more in the amount of time it would take to drive to them. So it's in 2 weeks we're having a flyover, and we're expected to get the imagery in a month or two.
So if somebody has put up a shed without a benefit of a permit or added onto their homes, that's going to get picked up. Right?
Yes.
And we can see not only just straight down, but we can actually see these angles, so we can see the heights of roofs and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, it has incredible measuring tools. You can measure heights of buildings, you can measure areas, pitch of the roofs, stuff like that.
It helps
So-
the assessors get some visibility into properties they might not be able to necessarily see from the street or.
Are we able to use technology to help solve problems like traffic or water quality, some of those other things? Can you think of ways that we might be able to use some of the information we have to improve the qualities of our bays and harbors, for example?
It's absolutely, GIS is a tool that can mold all the data together to find things. 9 times out of 10, it's the specialists that come to us and they want our mapping specialty, and they provide the background and some of the specifics on water quality and teach us what they're looking for. They're not teaching us, but they're working with us to bring in the impaired water and look at maybe the soils and find out what the septic drainage or the drainage values of those soils are. And based on that, we can bring that together in GIS and sometimes
Right,
it stands right out.
You help the building department or planning department develop maps so you could see where certain areas, maybe because of topography, are contributing in terms of pollutants to the bays, right? Because they're a certain distance away. I know that's one of the things you were working on with Councilman Bouvier, trying to identify these critical areas as we talk about advanced wastewater, what might be the best targets for those types of systems.
Absolutely, yeah. The GIS makes things 10 times easier as opposed to drawing it out the old cartography, the old way with cartography. But yeah, we're working, actually we have our hands in many different water quality projects, and the GIS is an integral component of all these and makes the, I guess, the results and the end product, the reporting at the end much, much easier.
Sure. So talk to me a little bit about how we're trying to make government more user-friendly for people. For instance, paying taxes. In the past, you'd have to come here to town hall and write a check. Now you can actually pay from home, right? That's a new service we're offering?
Correct. Actually, the e-tax module has been out for a couple of years now, quite a while actually, but I don't know that most people know it's available. So you can actually just pay your taxes online. It brings you up what your tax payment is. You go through, you can pay by credit card or ACH. I believe the credit card is a 2% convenience fee, which is very reasonable, or $1 for your ACH. We've been using it very successfully for a couple of years, but I feel like it's underutilized. A lot of people don't know about it, so that's out there to pay. You can get there from a link on the town's website to pay your taxes. We have second half taxes coming up in May, so it's out there on the website.
What else are we offering the public in terms of electronic services so that they might not have to come here to actually fill out a form for?
E-permits is another application we developed, and currently you can go on and apply for an electrical permit. Coming down the pipe soon, we'll be have the ability for home improvement licenses and as well as plumber licenses to be able to be processed online as well. And we're also looking into Hampton Bays water as well as various trustee permits.
Okay.
So it's moving along quite rapidly. Everybody's really backing it and very interested in being able to do that. And it's a win-win for both sides because it's less work for town staff as well as less time in the lines potentially for constituents.
Right, that hopefully will ease the burden over there in the building department a little bit. if
Right,
people
and
can
the trustee's
do
office
this
has
on
really
home.
come forward in technology very recently and very quickly.
absolutely.
They've really come up. As many in the public know, the 4x4 is very popular. The lines are out the door. We're hoping to be able to get that as an online service, maybe
As
not by
well?
this rush, but very shortly.
So then they would actually, would the permit then be mailed to them? How would that work?
We would they would either have to just walk in and pick it up, and we'll have to consider those things, or we could put it in the mail, certainly.
Right. That sounds good. Well, Paula, you've been with the town for a few years now. It's great to see a woman in the head of an IT department, often dominated by men. How did you get involved? And what is this your background? And
I do have a degree in management information systems, which is a combination of computers and business together. I actually was hired here by the town in 1989 to bring the building department online with computers. At that time, we had a Wang mainframe computer, and I guess I'm aging myself a little there, but just bringing all the information into a computer system. We actually did scanning of documents back then. It was pretty forward-thinking. And I did actually grow through several areas. I became knowledgeable in database work as the town switched from a mainframe to more Windows and databases. Pretty much just changed and rolled with it as we went, and that's pretty much.
Did you study computer science? Is that?
Not computer science, no. Computer science is more a mathematical degree. So this had kind of married application support with business, a business degree. And as the technology grew, so did the staff, and we've got fantastic network administrators on staff. We've at both police department and here at town hall that manage the town's network. We've got application support specialists, and as we said, the GIS group. So we've grown quite a bit.
No, I often hear accolades for the Department of IT. Everybody talks about, we're like the envy of other municipalities in terms of the our abilities to be able to look up information and share information. And Ross, I know you're a big part of that. How did you get interested in technology? I know you're an avid hiker and outdoorsman, but I know you try to merge the two together sometimes with trails maps and things like that.
Right.
But how did you get interested in computer technology?
It kind of, I have a degree in geography, and from there, GIS was the next logical step, moving in that direction, and kind of grew on me over time. It became, and now I'm here many times, many days out of the week, and I help out with some of the basic technology features and issues potentially, and it's the 21st century, and I'm using my phone way more than I should be. I'm taking pictures of the kids these days, and videos, and
No, this is the future. I mean, I watch how much my two kids use their phones. They're little computers, and they're able, they share so much with their friends, through social media. And I know the town, actually, we have a Facebook page too, don't we? We have we're in the social media world a little bit too at the town.
We
The police
do.
department has a Facebook page. And,
Yep.
the world is changing pretty quick, and you guys are kind of at the forefront of those changes. And it's really about serving our community, serving our residents, getting them the information and sharing information within departments, whether the police are sharing with code enforcement or with the building department, the assessor's office, the tax receiver's office, all these various departments talking to each other. It's not just about email anymore.
Correct.
Now it's a whole nother level, and keeping up with it can't be easy. But I'm really it's been great for me to work with you guys, because the expertise your department has to me is phenomenal. And no matter what challenges I seem to bring to you guys, you rise to the occasion and come up with solutions that are very user-friendly and very efficient. So I want to thank you both for the work that you're doing, and your whole department. Paula, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And Ross, thank you for coming on, talking to the town. Anything you want to share at the end here?
well, one of the reasons our GIS department is at the level we are, and I believe we're at a higher level. We're very fortunate to have a town board that's embracing the technology and sees what GIS potentially can do and the innovation we can bring to the table. So thank you.
Well, I log on all the time, pretty much every day, to that GIS system, because I'm always getting questions about various properties, and trying to work with our planning department and solving certain issues. And it's an extremely important and vital tool to have at my disposal. So thank you for being kind of behind the scenes and making that all work so seamlessly. All right, we
Thank
will
you.
see you next time on Talk of the Town. Thanks for watching.